do a little bit of retouching. The first thing we're going to do is brighten up the teeth. Hit Command J on my keyboard. Title this Whiten Teeth. I'm going to zoom in and select his teeth. Don't want the gums, you just want the teeth. No lips. So now this is going to give us a really crisp edge, and we want something that's a little bit softer. So we're going to feather it by going to Refine Edge. And I'm going to feather it about 4 pixels. OK. I'm going to hit Command U to get our hue saturation menu. And because teeth generally have a yellow tint, we're going to go to the yellows. I'm going to take my saturation slider and drag it to the left, just until the yellow disappears. Sometimes it'll turn a little bit too gray, so only go until the yellow disappears. And then I'm going to go back to Master. Take my lightness slider and brighten it up just a little bit because you don't want to make them look like they're glowing. Click OK, deselect, and there we have new teeth for Mr. Levine. Next thing we're going to do is brighten up the eyes. I'm going to title this Brighten Eyes. And I'm going to use the magnetic lasso for this one. And I'm going to select the eyes that I want to brighten up. So just the whites of the eyes. Do a refine edge and feather it a little bit, just a little bit less this time because it's a smaller area. Click OK, Command U again, and instead of the yellows, we're going to the reds. Drag our saturation to the left. Notice it gets too blue if we go too far to the left and too gray. So you just want to go until the red has disappeared. I then want you to switch back to Master and brighten them up just a little bit. Deselect. Now he's got brighter eyes. Last but not least, what we're going to be doing is making the skin smoother. So I'm going to hit Command J one last time. I'm going to title this one Surface Blur. We're going to go up to Filter, go down to Blur, go down to Surface Blur. And you want to set your radius and your threshold enough so that the skin becomes nice and smooth. You can see the tones start to blend together. So I think I'm going to set my radius to about 20. Maybe set my threshold to about 31. Once you're happy, click OK. This is going to be very dependent on the photograph that you have. Click OK. But now this obviously looks a little bit too blurry. So what you're going to want to do is add a layer mask. So we're going to Alt-click on the layer mask down here at the bottom of the layers palette, and we're going to fill that with, it's going to create a black mask. So what we can do then is paint with a white brush and add back in that blur that we previously had added. So we're going to set your opacity to 30% so we can add a little bit in at a time. And then you're just going to take that white brush and start painting on his skin. And you're going to go pretty much everywhere on the skin except for your person's eyes, because that will make it look a little bit too fake. So you're going to run it over anywhere that doesn't have detail, the surface of the skin. You don't want to go over the mouth, you don't want to go over the nostrils of the nose. And you're going to go over the forehead, just in those areas that you want to be a little bit smoother. You can even do his neck a little bit. Might even run down here and do his hand. Just a tad. And you're going to have to use your professional judgment as to how much you blur or how much you affect his skin tone, or the person you're working on skin tone. And then you can always drop down the opacity on your layer to make it a little bit less noticeable, to make it more realistic. So there we have it. We have Mr. Levine before. We have the newly retouched Mr. Levine. Have fun.